Okay, guys, Sean here from Riftbound Risk Taker, and today what we're going to talk about is, is this most recent increase in price really market manipulation, or if it's, more of natural demand that's going on? I read a lot of Reddit posts, and most people are just crying market manipulation, and there's probably some case to be made just because the prices are going up so fast. But I'm going to make a controversial video here, and the overarching claim that I'm going to make is I don't think this is market manipulation when it comes to signatures going up so much in price and really just all the Riftbound cards going up in price. I don't think it's market manipulation, and I really do think it's natural demand. I think this natural demand is tied to the new T1 set that's coming out, and it's really just got everybody's eyes back on Riftbound. Money is flowing out of Pokemon. One Piece is kind of stagnant as well, besides some big movers. And so people are really just looking for a place to put their money. I think a lot of people, are getting sucked into putting their money in Gundam, but I think a lot of other people, like myself, are trying to stay with the stronger IP, even though, UVS is, UVS and not Bandai. So here's what we're going to do. The entire way that this video is going to be structured is just with this Excel sheet that I put together, and a really fun, neat thing you can do on eBay. And of course, this data is not 100% foolproof. There are, of course, caveats in this data, which I will go through one at a time. But I do think this is very useful data, and I feel confident enough in this data that I've started to pick up some more things in Riftbound. I've mostly been buying cases. I've added 3 cases of Origins to my position right now. One first print that I got at like a 10% premium, and then 2 more OGs that I bought, at a pretty decent price. Not the current market price, which is like $1,800 today as I'm filming this, which is the 14th of July. So, all right, one thing, I'm sure some of you guys know this, some of you don't, but if you go on eBay, what I did when I made this whole spreadsheet was I sorted Riftbound PSA 10, sorted by $1,000 or more, and I did sold items, and we've put this specifically to auctions. And you're gonna ask, well, okay, why does this matter? Well, what we get to do is we can actually track people who are buying cards, right? And you're gonna be like, okay, what does that mean, track people? So I'm using this vein as the example for this video, but I did this for every single card that I could find in the month of July. And what I did was I sorted by most expensive, and then I just picked all the ones from July. And when you go and you click on the card, you see this is an auction, so we have bids. And eBay has this lovely feature where you can go in and see the bidders. And so the way eBay does this is they anonymize the name for each auction, but they put the number of feedback that each of these people have in this, list. And so you can basically track everyone who's bidding on these auctions. And as you can kind of see by this sheet, there's a lot of, unique numbers on here. It's very possible that, these people who are, one feedback might be the same, might be different. There's possibilities, people who are like 27 or 20 are also, different people. But for the most part, once you start getting into these higher numbers, we saw this 67,000 reviews on eBay. And so remember, if you're looking at somebody's like eBay account, like let's go PSA, they're 600 and something thousand, reviews. So, that number is unique. And then the other thing that I checked as well was I checked auctions that I myself had won over different time periods. And then I logged out of my account, checked it through just not being logged in on eBay. And then I checked it across different times to make sure that, the feedback amount wasn't like updating, as somebody gets more feedback. So say like in the beginning of June, they had 124 feedback, but then, at the end of June or something, when they won another auction, they were at 197. I made sure that that number was actually like the same between people. So I used my own account to verify that. And so I feel very confident about the findings that I'm going to present to you. Okay, so we're using this vein as the example, and we can see that, feedback number 98 is the one who won this. And then I also made a note of, other notable people who were bidding up this item, to, basically all-time highs. And so this is the compilation of my results. I could have made this in a nicer format with like a frequency table, but I didn't really want to, because it wasn't that noticeable. It wasn't like, oh, they're actually just the same 3 people buying all the items. That is actually not the conclusion. So I went in and highlighted out of this list. So this is all the stuff, in early July to now, right? And I went through and I kind of just, did the highlighting. There was honestly only one account that stood out to me, and it was this dude with 1987 feedback. They did end up winning 5 cards. They ended up winning 5 cards in this time period, but the other part of this, so this is what I'm doing. If I'm somebody and I believe that, I want to buy out Riftbound cards, well, the most important thing that I would want to do is buy the cards at a cheaper price. And then start buying out the cards, and then start listing my own copies. And, they might have multiple accounts to do all of this. That's super reasonable. They make a brand new account for all of this. But then that would show that there are a bunch of 1 feedback people or like 2 feedback people buying all the items. And that's not what happened. So first we're going to talk about mid-June. Mid-June, I went through, when the prices were still very low, and I went all the way back to the beginning of June. And I made a note of all the winning bids of these, popular signature cards, Ahris, Kaisas, Lee Sins, really the same thing as this list here. You can see which ones I focused on, and these are, again, all the ones that were above $1,000. So we got Yasuo's, Misfortunes, Irelia's. I even did raw cards too to see if there was some kind of like correlation, if there was somebody just buying up everything, but again, that wasn't the case. So we got Volibear's, Sets, Yasuo's, Darius's, Vayne's, more Yasuo's, Spirit Forge. We got OG Spirit Forge, Spirit Forge Ahri. Okay, anyways, I go back to June, and I tried to, I didn't actually make it look pretty, but this is essentially a frequency table of all the people that were winning cards. And what it came down to was there were only 3 accounts that won multiple cards in this time period, and it was only 2 max. So if I were expecting, this Mr. 1987 to try and buy out all of these cards, I would expect to see, 1987 like 8 or 9 times in this frequency table. If I'm being real, I think Mr. 1987 is actually just Mr. FOMO. I think he is completely FOMO'd out and is just buying 1 of each copy. And he actually bought 2 Yasuo's, which was strange. Maybe his order got canceled. I didn't check the cert numbers. But yeah, basically, if you go back to the middle of June, there is nobody that is actively buying out all of the inventory. And again, if you wanted to be smart about doing a buyout and make as much money as possible, you would want to buy all the cards, as cheap as possible. And this would be, going back through May, going back through April. And that was also what I did. I went back and checked, some of the high comps of the Ahri from Spirit Forge and Ahri from OG. I just checked those 2 because those are like the most popular cards. And, well, if you wanted to do a buyout, you would want to, do those cards because they're going to have the highest ceiling since we've already established that they're really high. And I did not see any of the same numbers that were buying cards now or any of the same numbers that were buying cards here pop up at those earlier times. The only other pattern I really saw was, if you went back to like May, you would typically see the same buyers like trying to buy cards in May, but then they weren't buying cards in June, which kind of tells me like, okay, this person set their mind to it in May that they were going to buy, signatures in May. They wanted them and they decided to buy them. They weren't buying them through June, and they're not trying to, pump up prices now. Now, next, if you were expecting these cards to just be shilled, you would expect to see, a lot of like single feedbacks, winning these auctions. And I will say, yeah, there's a couple of, single digit feedbacks here, and really only one of them won an auction, and it was the second highest Ahri from Spirit Forged. But then you have, other accounts that are, still bidding at relatively high prices. Like this account with 3,363 reviews, was constantly bidding on these, and they were bidding high amounts, but they ended up losing, by a couple $100 on a few of these auctions. And, it seems like this is a responsible, normal bidder because they're not just, FOMOing out and trying to get all of this. So, this took me like an hour to put together, but I think a lot of the results that we're getting from this data do point to the idea that we are not seeing like one singular person or like a collection of 3 to 5 people buying out all of these cards. I genuinely think that this looks like super healthy, just increase in demand, and this is a supply crunch where there are not very many cards on the market. All right, now we're going to get into the caveats. Of course, these are just auctions. A lot of some of the highest sales that we've seen are actually buy it nows. So if I like turn this off and just put it on, I'll just put it on to buy it nows. There are tons of buy it nows, and we can't track any of those people. unfortunately. Like, I really wanted to see who bought this Lee Sin, because all the Lee Sins, they got bought out, and then this person posted this. Oh, this is actually another one at 4,000 today. Sorry, there was another Lee Sin earlier that got posted at 4,000, and it got insta-bought. It was gone within an hour. You know, I'm always looking at Lee Sin cards, again, as I'm trying to, get my Lee Sin black label. But, or maybe I'll show you at the end of the video. I got some cards back from Beckett today, so we can go through those at the end of the video, because they're fun. But yeah, so we can't check all of these, buy it nows, unfortunately. I wish eBay had that as an option. Maybe 150 point or 130 point, has something like that, or there's another website that has something like that. If you guys know about that, please link it down below. I'd love to put more data and more time and thought and effort into this, but, I don't always know everything. This was the trick that I knew, and this is what I wanted to investigate. So yeah, okay, my conclusion for this video, I don't think this Riftbound buyout is artificial. I really do think this is just natural demand, and everyone is kind of FOMOing into it. We see this a lot in trading card games. Kind of expect it. What should you FOMO into this? Probably not. Probably not at this point. You'll probably have to wait and see. That's just the responsible advice. But hey, if there's a card you really want, you can buy it. It's probably fine. Worst case scenarios, it's going to come down 10-15%. I think there's enough hype and natural demand, as we're seeing from all these different accounts just constantly bidding on this, that you're probably decently safe buying some of these signatures, because the pop is low and the IP is strong. But yeah, I'm of course going to keep focusing on the sealed, and I'll probably try and do some more grading plays, just as I said in the previous videos. That's just my thing. So that's it for today's video. I probably won't make any more videos for the next week or so, but I just wanted to put this one out there because I think it's really important, and I can't wait to see what is going to be going on with Riftbound in a little bit. But yeah, let's grab the cards. We can look at them real quick, because I enjoy looking at cards, and I imagine you do as well. Yeah, for anybody who follows me on Instagram, I already posted these on Instagram earlier today, but we got BGS 10, OG Zoro, and then, of course, the Riftbound cards. I got 2 gold 10s of the Lee Sins, so no black labels, unfortunately. I might GCR one of them. One of them, I, check the centering again, and it looks absolutely perfect, so I think Beckett's just, doing their pop control, typical yada, yada, yada. That's a joke. Don't take it seriously. But anyways, guys, have a great rest of your day, and yeah, I don't think it's artificial. I think it's real. Riftbound to the moon. Peace.